What's the point? The point is that learners need consistency in the classroom. For a few short years now, I've been teaching Spanish at the university level, and this year I've begun teaching at the high school level. I remember in my education classes during my undergrad that a lot of our discussions oriented themselves around a specific vein of ingenuity. The professors and TAs encouraged us to find novel ways to engage the whole class and to appeal to a wider group of students. The goal was to encourage us to be creative in our approaches and holistic in our thought processes, yet somehow also remain loyal to state objectives and standards so that we were meeting general goals. This was also about the time that Common Core objectives had been introduced for a couple of years and, were still being debated and questioned by us in our classes. Walking away from my education classes, I just had this impression that I was supposed to be, as a teacher, coming up with new and creative content constantly. I thought that it was my responsibility to do everything in the field of teaching and teaching Spanish that wasn't already being done, and that I would have to be coming up with novel lesson types and plans and content every single class. Man, was I wrong. When I got to the beginning of my master's degree, I underwent training on how to teach foreign languages at this specific program, and my mind was just opened to awesome and different perspectives of language learning that I had just not wrapped my mind around before. But what I was learning about was a method and a perspective and a focus to the classroom that just hadn't been taught to me before. Half of what I thought I was going to need to do as a teacher was just wrong. What was more unique about the teaching style that I was being given by my professor was that we were actually supposed to be pretty consistent about our lesson plans. We weren't supposed to be coming up with a different lesson type every single day. We were supposed to stick to a certain guideline or rule of thumb. Of course, during my training, I was simply focused on the fact that, hey, this is super easy and convenient because it's way less time that I have to invest into setting up for my students. But there was a deeper meaning at play. What this was doing for the students was creating an environment that was actually more or less the same whenever they came into the classroom. Once I figured out how to adhere to this other teaching philosophy, and once I had more clearly established my own teaching philosophy, I found that my lessons became more and more routine. Just about every lesson is the exact same as the previous one. I've just introduced novel content and material. I believe that this has empowered my students. While I have been creative in establishing what my routine is, I believe that it is essential to provide a regular expectation for what my students get when they come into the classroom. This also extends to my tests. What my students get tested on is the exact same material and methods that I use to teach them. If I create dialogues with them in class, then creating a dialogue is a part of their test. If they have to do any translations, then translations are on the test. This consistency means that the students are always focusing on the content and never the method. I believe that some teachers and students may see this as boring and that the routine of things makes it worse for students and, dare say, even dampens the students' ability to learn. But I just disagree. Learning material and learning a language, especially in the classroom, is a difficult task. When students have to learn different sorts of structures, it almost always takes as much time to explain the new method of activity that you're doing as it does to just explain to them what you want to teach in terms of content. The point is that learners need consistency in the classroom. If the rules of engagement are super clear and understood by the students, they're just not likely to become bored and disengaged as they are to become free. Somebody who knows all of the rules and somebody who can bounce through a specific activity based on those rules is way more free than a student who faces new and diverse lessons every single class. And thus that first student is more free to learn. I hope you enjoyed my little opinion here about teaching, and specifically teaching a language. If you want to see where I'm taking my work, then go check out my company, Glottoverse, on Facebook, and there investigate my company's newest product, La Introducción. Salaam, Agev.